Sebastian Ben Martinez, MMAnytt, here with Dave Allen, Senior Vice President for Operations in Europe, Asia, and Middle East. So, Dave, we're here in Krakow, Poland, the first ever UFC show in Eastern Europe. How do you feel it's going so far?
It's going fantastic. It's great to be here in Krakow, a new market for the UFC, as you've just said. And actually, it's our debut here in this market, but it's also the debut for 7 fighters on the card. No, sorry, 10 fighters on the card, 7 Polish fighters on the card. So it's going to be a fantastic night with the rematch of Gonzaga against Krakow, one of the greatest fights ever in history, and we get the opportunity for that rematch. But we've also got some other super fights on that card, the co-main being Jan Blachowicz, back in his home country, fighting for the first time within the UFC in his home country. And he's fighting a tough opponent in Jimmy Manuwa. So it's going to be a great night, great event. There's great excitement all week in the lead up to it, and we're getting great support from the fans. So we absolutely love being here.
Well, speaking of the fans, the Eastern European and especially Polish fans have been very adamant about, getting the UFC show over here. How many tweets and messages have you guys been getting? Before you guys actually debuted here, that is.
Well, it's been constant, and I do use the story of that. Every interview that I've done in the UFC so far, there is one of the Polish journalists who absolutely attends all our events. He's dedicated to the sport like nobody is. But the first question that always comes out, he says to me, "When are you coming to Poland? When are you coming to Poland?" And so when we came and we announced that we were coming to Poland and we were doing the press conference to launch this event and to go on sale with the tickets, the guy was in the audience, of course, and the microphone was passed to him. And the first question he asked me was, "When are you going to Russia?" So it never ends. It's one of those funny things. So I think for us, we've got a couple of events this year where we're returning to some great markets. We've been to Sweden for the second time, on the trot. We were there in October. We came back in January. We're returning to Berlin in June, on 20th of June, and we're entering new markets. So entering here in Poland on Saturday night, and then we're going to Glasgow for the first time ever in July. And hopefully then we'll be able to announce another event that we will have at the back end of the year. So more to come.
All right, excellent. Well, looking more at this event, the arena, it's a pretty newly built arena. It's only been around for a couple of years. And how many, I know obviously you can't be exact, but in terms of ticket sales and seating, do you guys have some kind of estimate as to how many fans we can expect on Saturday?
Yeah, we're hoping that we'll get around 12,000 people in the arena. Our ticket sales are ongoing at this moment in time. The Polish market's a bit different than some other markets that we've been to, and it's one of the things that we learn as we enter new markets or we return to markets. We get a history of how you actually operate in every single country. Everywhere is completely different. In some markets, everybody goes immediately onto the ticket site, buys all the tickets, and the venue's sold out in a couple of hours. In other markets, it's a slow burn. You sell all the way up to the night. If you take Sweden as the example, when we were there on January 24th, there were people paying going into the arena when Anthony Johnson was walking out to walk into the octagon. So you get different analogies going on. So it's very, very hard to estimate exactly how many people will be in the arena on the night, but we reckon it'll be anywhere between 10 and 12,000 people, which is fantastic.
And is that sort of what you had around a similar number to what you had hoped for in early estimates before you debuted here?
Yeah, we were thinking if we could get 10,000 people in, that would be massive success for us, because it is the first time that we've come to this market, and it's the first time we come. The sport has been in Krakow, so it is a success. But it's also a success in a number of different factors as well around the world. If you go to the Netherlands, this will be the first fight that's ever shown on free TV in the Netherlands this year. It'll be the first fight from our series this year that will be shown on free TV in the UK and in Ireland. And the fight will be shown in 149 countries around the world on Fight Pass. So we're ticking a number of different boxes with this fight. So it's not just how many people will turn up into the arena. That's very, very important because it creates the atmosphere, gives the fans the opportunity to support, their own fighters or to support the Polish fighters. So great atmosphere is important to it, but there are a number of different things that we've been able to achieve by coming here to Poland.
And what was the biggest, because you said, like I said, all markets are different. They have different, you always have to think about different things when debuting in them. What was sort of the biggest challenge to overcome, or maybe logistical problems, or just basically what was the biggest thing to overcome in debuting here in Poland?
I think the biggest learning for us actually has been, would I call it a challenge or would I call it a learning? I think a learning is the best part, is language. You don't think of it at all times. You know, you assume because we are a US-based operation, we've always been doing things in the English language. We assume everybody, you know, in the world speaks the English language. And yes, a lot of the Polish people do speak the English language. But to actually get to the heart of the Polish community, we've had to translate, and we've done a lot of work with our video editing, with our social and digital media posts, and making sure that it's in the native language. And that's been a challenge in itself, because I don't know what they're writing, you know, but it's out there, and I think the fans have appreciated it. We set up separate Facebook pages for the Polish fans. We've set up different videos and promos of all the different things that we're doing in native Polish language. Polish language has its own challenges as well. You know, Twitter has 149 characters. There's not many Polish words that you can put on a tweet.
Oh, yeah. Especially with the amount of Z's and S's that we have in seemingly every word.
It seems that way, and even pronouncing the names of the fighters can be a challenge.
All right, well, final question then regarding Poland here. What are your sort of predictions and hopes for the event on Saturday? Like you said, there's a lot of, it's a success in many ways already in terms of broadcasting as such, but what would be the ideal outcome?
I think the ideal outcome will be that, you know, we have a great show, we have great fights on the night, you know, and that everybody puts the greatest effort into showing the fans what the UFC is all about. UFC, as we've said already, have never been to this market. They're going to see something that's completely different, something that they've never experienced before. So the success of the night will be down to the fighters and them putting on the greatest show that there is in mixed martial arts.
Well, it sounds like those expectations very well could be met. David, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.